Greetings, EMS parents and families. Mr. Gallagher here with an announcement regarding Phase 2 of Eisenhower's reopening plan for the 2020-2021 school year. This does serve as a follow-up to Superintendent Radlick's correspondence earlier last week on October the 15th. With regards to EMS, we will be keeping our 4-hour learning day format. However, we will be welcoming in each day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all of the students who intend to either continue in-person learning or perhaps shift to it as we anticipate beginning Phase 2 on November the 16th. So a couple of things that I want to point out. I know that you all have some important decisions to make in the next couple of days with respect to whether your child will continue in their current learning format or switch to something different. We are anticipating having all 3 academic teams operating at each grade level, 3 8th grade teams and 3 7th grade teams. Currently, we have 3 8th grade teams and only 2 7th grade teams, with 1 team of teachers dedicated exclusively to working with our 100% virtual students. We are still offering 100% virtual instruction as required by the state of New Jersey. However, what will change now that we're bringing back those teachers in their positions into the building, students who are working 100% virtually will need to stream into classes that are taking place here in the building. So what that means for your child in particular, if they're in 8th grade, it's not impossible, but it is more unlikely that they're going to see a lot of changes to their schedule, particularly their core classes and the teams that they are on. But if your child is a 7th grader, there is a good chance that some of their classes may change, including the core academic team that they are on, as well as those 100% virtual students and families. As I mentioned, you're going to be streaming in, so you're going to be doing that quite possibly to a new teacher's class. We recognize that there will be some transitory elements to that, and we hope that it's not too uncomfortable for your child. But that has always been a consideration or something that was a possibility as we move through the phases of our reopening, with, of course, our ultimate hope returning to full capacity 5 days per week, but one step at a time. In addition to our Phase 2 master schedule, we're also pleased to announce that we are planning for a winter sports season. So here at EMS, we carry, girls and boys basketball as well as wrestling. So we met with the coaches. We sent out correspondence earlier today with more information about that. In addition to our sports, we're also offering expanded extracurricular offerings. So we know the weather's going to be turning soon. We want to give kids plenty of options for after-school activities that are constructive and positive in nature. For those of you wondering, why did we go this route? First and foremost, from the community perspective, this was strongly supported by our parents and families. We know at the K-8 level, particularly here at the middle level, the in-person contact time is still critically important as kids are developing those strong relationships with their teachers and with their peers. The social elements that come along with school are just as important as the academic elements. And our reflections and our knowledge indicates that really the most valuable time that we have with kids is when they are here in the building. So for those families that are sending their students in person, we really wanted to maximize the amount of time that we were offering to them to be here in the building while still keeping things safe, which brings us to the next couple items. A 4-hour day does enable us to avoid lunch gatherings, both either formally in the cafeteria or even in smaller groups in the classrooms, which we've currently been doing. But now keep in mind, there's going to be more bodies in those classrooms than there were before. So anytime that kids are taking off their face coverings is a time that we are a little bit more vulnerable. So we are trying to limit those instances to the very best of our ability. The 4-hour day also does give us more time after students have left to clean and sanitize comprehensively. So we were encouraged to be able to continue to offer that. And also from a family and childcare perspective, we recognize that a lot of our students may be in a position where they can help care for a younger sibling at one of the lower grades. So we wanted to get them home early enough before the elementary schools, which are also still doing 4-hour days, release themselves. So this does keep that practice in place. The daily period schedule looks very similar to the way it does now. There's just a couple exceptions I want to point out, and those take place during what are currently operating as study halls. So 7th grade, your study hall is now attached to your core 3 class. If you recall, during phase 1, you had it period 4. Now you have it period 5. That's also if you're in band, orchestra, or choir, when you'd have access to your ensemble director. 8th grade, you are now taking study hall period 6. So that's 1 period later for you as well. And that will take place in your core 4 classroom. So that is a little bit of a change. We had to do that because a lot of our staff members not only work here at Eisenhower, but they also work up at the high school, particularly in our performing arts department. So we really value the contributions that those programs give to our rounding out our whole child here at Eisenhower. And we wanted to make sure that they could continue to operate to their fullest potential. You'll notice here at the bottom, we're continuing to offer our afternoon office hours services. So these are really important parents for your kids to take advantage of. If they've got a big project coming up, if they have a question about something that's a new assignment and they didn't understand it when it was initially explained, they just want to check in with the teacher. These are live. These are face-to-face virtual dedicated times where kids can meet with their teachers. So if your child is struggling in one of their classes, one of the first things that you can ask them is, have you had any office hours appointments? Do you have any schedule? Have you, reached out and let the teacher know what's going on? I can promise you our teachers stand at the ready to support in any way that they can. Wanted to speak to classroom layouts a little bit. I know this is another question that families understandably had as we bring back more students into the building. So we will continue to emphasize distancing to the fullest extent practicable. Right now in some of our 8th grade classrooms, we only have 3, 4, 5 kids in the room. So as we double those capacities, we're still looking at the mid to upper teens. We do still have our 100% virtual students out of the building, Zooming in or streaming in from home. And we'll spread out desks even further. When we have to, we'll utilize plexiglass dividers in some of our smaller spaces. And just from a teaching and learning perspective, kids aren't anchored to their desks here. We really do try to encourage them to get up, move around. We've got some kids that like to, sit kind of in the corner of the room. Sometimes they even like to work out in the hallway. So we're really trying to take advantage of every single square foot that we have here in the building. And teachers do a great job to kind of taking that learning on the road. Even though the weather's turning, we still have classes going on outside. We have classes going on in the large auditorium or the cafeteria, ELC. We are blessed to have a lot of large congregation spaces where we can take routine classes and all of a sudden provide them with an abundance of space. So we'll continue to focus on that. Buses as well. We're going to have more kids in the buses. We're bringing more kids to school. So those buses are going to be a little bit more full than they have been during the first couple months of school. Just like is in the case anytime in the building, masks are going to be required at all times on the bus. Kids have to sit in their assigned seats. The buses have air purifiers on board. They have very specific entry and exit protocols, and they are routinely disinfected in the afternoon once the routes are complete. Hallway behavior is a huge part of the middle school experience. Kids only have a couple minutes to pass from one class to the other. I have to say the teachers and I are so impressed with the behavior that we have seen as students are moving from class to class. They're doing a great job, staying on the right side of the hall, which is great practice for driving in a few years. They're doing a great job of waiting till other people pass before they turn to cross. Everybody's just, really doing a nice job being mindful of their surroundings and aware of where they are in the building. Kids are, now they know where they're going. So that's a big help. Of course, if we have some of our virtual students coming into the school, we'll set you up with a buddy or somebody who can help you learn the ropes and you'll get it in no time. We are going to increase our capacity in restrooms to 2 people at a time. We have, conceivably twice as many students coming in. So where once we limited that to 1 individual at a time, we are now going to double that and allow 2 kids in. So, students, if you approach a restroom, it's always a good practice to knock before you enter, and just get kind of the lay of the land before you walk in, and perhaps just wait a moment until somebody exits the restroom. And finally, lockers. We're going to continue to keep lockers out of service, at least through the end of November. We know the winter months are coming, and we're mindful of that. But for the time being, kids have really done a great job. They're building muscles, they're building stamina, they're carrying their items throughout the building, and it has really enabled them to move swiftly from one class to another and avoid those kind of clusters and those clump ups in the hallways that we don't want. So as I wrap up this correspondence, I want to share something that we shared at the beginning of this journey. The little things, the things that we know help, the things that we know will help us fight not only this virus, but just general health and hygiene in all areas. So washing and sanitizing your hands often. We got stations everywhere. We're well stocked with all sorts of sanitizers. Keep wearing your face coverings. If you're going to enjoy Halloween this year on either the 29th or the 30th, it's okay to wear a costume. Keep your face covering on. No face paint up here. But we invite you to do so. We're going to continue to avoid prolonged close contact. That's really important. That's where we mentioned the idea of spreading out when you're in class, keeping your face covering on, and not spending too much time closely with any one individual. Respiratory etiquette is still crucial. If you feel a cough or a sneeze coming on, it is cold season, and the cooler air does bring about some runny noses and things like that. So if you feel that happening, just cover up, turn yourself away from others, and show them that you are being mindful of them as well as yourself. We're going to keep disinfecting and spraying our surfaces regularly. Students, you're welcome to help with this. This next one's awfully important. If you're not feeling well, parents, if your child is not feeling well, please do not send them in. If you are awaiting test results or you are unsure of your own health and well-being, please keep your kids home. Take a couple extra days to make sure everything's okay. The consequences of sending a child to school when they are not well are more far-reaching than ever before. So we do really urge you to err on the side of caution if you cannot guarantee your child's health or well-being. And then we're going to continue to teach outdoors as much as we can. We're going to continue to spread out and use those common learning spaces as much as we can. And so with that, I just want to remind you, if you're going to stay with the same model that you're already doing, so that means if you're already 100% virtual, and you wish to continue learning that way, you need to take no action. You don't have to do anything. Same if you're already in person utilizing our hybrid schedule. You don't have to do anything. Just keep on doing what you're doing. We'll automatically roll you over into whichever group you were already a part of. However, if you are going to swap, if you're going to change, you need to go into the Genesis parent portal. There is a form that you need to fill out, and you need to do so by Wednesday, October 21st. So take some time, talk it over as a family. We understand that these are important decisions that we're all making. Many of us are parents too, and we're making those same decisions for our own children. So good luck, stay well, and we do hope to see you all again soon. Bye-bye.